the Brown family. You might say this is where it all started. This is the house where my father was born, Martin Brown. And this was taken not long before this house was torn down. It was located on Highway 91 in Woods Cross. This is my dad, Martin Brown. This was taken in the backyard of our house that was only three houses down from the house you just saw, located also on Highway 91. Here's my brother Roger. This was taken in the house where my father was standing just in the picture before. And this was taken around 1955 or 56. Here I am with my dog Nell. We used to have great fun running around and roaming the fields. This is in the front yard of our house, showing Highway 91. And the cabins that were located across the street. This is my mother. She's been out working in the garden, as you can see. As you can see, my dad was building a patio in the backyard. And here I am with my faithful dog, Nell. Nell was a great dog for hunting, and we had a lot of fun with her. She was a good dog and obeyed a lot of commands. One of the things I used to do is go down to Gene Biggs's and we would shoot pistols, we would shoot bow and arrows, we would fly model airplanes and do different things. You'll see here today some of the things we did. Notice the fields. This is down by the old church house on 8th West, and the fields were open then. There was no subdivision there. Here we have Grandpa and Grandma Arbuckle, who came to visit us. This would have been around 1958. And this is on the front lawn of our house. Here we have Grandma and Grandpa Brown, and this is in their backyard. Here again, it would have been around 1958. I tried to get Grandma Brown to take these pictures of us walking around. She had a hard time keeping us in the center of the camera though. see their barn and their chicken coop behind their house. Here we have Grandma and Grandpa Arbuckle, Grandma and Grandpa Brown visiting. I told Grandma Brown to ham this up a little. Here we have Roger, Grandma and Grandpa at a picnic dinner. You can see the patio wasn't quite finished at this time, but we still had a picnic on it. Here's some scenes at our ward, and here's a scene out at the Great Salt Lake beaches. Here's Roger. Roger was quite a swimmer in those days, and he was very strong for his age. Looks like another picnic here. And it's the 4th of July. Roger was in the band. I believe he played a drum. That boy that turned around was Paul Nelson, Roger's cousin. This was the parade down Bountiful Main Street. Oh yes, I believe Roger's in the junior high band here. There he is. He doesn't see me till just about now. He's lucky, but he can't see me. Ah yes, he sees us. That girl was waving directly at me. first cousin with his trumpet. And there's Roger and Paul together. This is my Aunt Norma running into her house. This is my Aunt Norma coming back out of her house. And there's my Uncle Avance coming out of the house. We were playing badminton that day. I remember they just got new rabbits, baby rabbits, at the Nelsons. This is my cousin Carolyn. And yes, Christmases were a lot of fun. This is Roger playing with his helicopter on Christmas Day. Even Mom and Dad got good stuff. Of course, Dad always had to ham things up. Perfect fit. And we always had Grandma and Grandpa come over for Christmas Day. Everybody got to fly the helicopter, it looks like. Grandma and Grandpa Arbuckle came too. Of course, it was getting time for me to graduate from high school, and my cousin Barbara and I decided to try out our gowns before graduation day. I had my pistol with me. It was the only way I could get through high school. but this time it kind of fouled me up. It got caught in my robes. I'd forgotten we graduated in white robes. Kind of like the Ku Klux Klan, I think. Grandpa Arbuckle decided to take us all to Denver on the train one year. And I believe this is pictures of that trip. He took all of his grandchildren because he worked for the railroad and he was able to get discount tickets, and he wanted us all to ride on the railroad. So here we are, getting ready to go, the whole family, all cousins, uncles and aunts and so on are getting on the train. This is Christmas Eve, 1959. Here again, my brother Roger giving a reading. He was later inspired to be in radio and broadcasting because of this reading. This is the Christmas Eve program we had at Grandma and Grandpa Arbuckle's. Every Christmas we would put these on. And at the end, Santa Claus would come. I wished I'd had the soundtrack to some of these programs. They were pretty hilarious, and they were always fun. Here we see Dick Hatch taking us all on a bear hunt. Finally, Santa Claus came. Dad hamming it up again. We had other visitors too. This is Bill and Clara Lewis from Idaho. And Laura Lynn Stratton and her children. And Dale Stratton. Of course, Robert had just got back from a mission and he was dating pretty heavy to this pretty young thing known as Linda Harvey. Is that really a mink coat, Linda? Of course, Mom and Dad took us on vacation trips back in those days, and this is one of them. You might recognize some of the swimmers in here. Roger's getting a little older yet, but he's getting more aggressive too. I believe this was a trip to California. Since this says Griffith Observatory. That's definitely Los Angeles. I believe this is when I had my ear surgery. I believe this was Long Beach. I think I remember going out to Long Beach with the family. And this was the Rose Bowl. Or LA Stadium, I'm not sure which. course, Mom and Dad were really enthusiastic tourists. I remember this. This is my best buddy Richard Perry's convertible. And there's Richard himself. We spent a lot of time in that. Here again, we're in the house out in Bountiful. This is after we redid the fireplace. It looks a lot nicer now. It had a marble face. It looks like we're going to have a nice Christmas dinner. By this time, Jeff was born. And there's Grandpa Arbuckle. And there's Grandma Arbuckle. And of course, Roger had a girlfriend. And I'm not sure who all these people are. I believe they were co-workers of my dad when he worked for Utah Oil Company. But I know that that's Jeff. And that's Grandma Brown. And there's Robert. I guess that's me. I don't know who's taking the pictures. believe this is Jeff's birthday, his first birthday. And this is also when we were living out in North Salt Lake. I believe this is Jeff's second birthday. beautiful, I know that. There again, it had probably been around 1963 or 4. No, 66. Robert will remember these pictures. This is when I graduated from high school. My parents sent me back to Boston, Massachusetts to meet Robert, who was getting off a mission at that time, and also to see the ear doctor, to see why I was having trouble with my ears. And this is when I landed in Chicago, O'Hare International Airport. This is when I arrived in Boston. I believe this is Paul Revere's home. And this is the Old North Church. What was it? 1 by land, 2 by sea. And the lighthouse where they signaled from that the British were coming. And of course we went out and saw Old Ironsides in Boston Harbor. And this is the Boston Common. I believe we were on a ferry going out in Narragansett Bay to Newport, Rhode Island, when we took these pictures. We have some Vanderbilt summer home with Breakers, Newport, Rhode Island. This is his backyard. This is Lillian Maine and her daughter. I'm sure Robert will remember them. Nancy. From there we went down to New York City and took a boat trip around Manhattan. And of course we got down to Washington, D.C. I thought this might be a nice hotel. From there we went down to Richmond, Virginia. I met the elders down there. From there we went across the country, clear up into Hibbing, Minnesota. And this is Bruce Lee Belt and his companion who was in Hibbing at the time. From there we went down through Yellowstone Park, and this was just before the big earthquake and the Hedgekin Dam disaster, and so we saw a lot of the animals. They were moving through the park. This is an antelope. This was a big moose, and it would chase this guy. That was trying to take pictures of him. And this is the bear that tried to get into our car. In a minute you will see him come into our car and noticeably put his nose right on the camera. That's a bear's nose. This is a picture of Bob and Linda sometime before they moved to Montana. Here we have a picture of Grandma Arbuckle, and we're having Thanksgiving dinner up at Uncle Howard's. Here we are eating again. Ronald, Roger, and Paul, the three musketeers. This is taken around Christmas time at Grandma and Grandpa Arbuckle's. Here again, this is Thanksgiving time at Uncle Howard's. And Christmas, Grandma and Grandpa Arbuckle's. Robert, you may remember Uncle Royal and Aunt Edith. This is a trip we took to see them quite a number of years ago. This is their home in Salmon, Idaho. And this is the mines where Uncle Royal used to work. This is Uncle Harold and a picture of Aunt Marvel and the family behind the house out in Bountiful. There's Grandma, I think around that was on her birthday. Arbuckle and Kay after church one day. We used to belong to the same ward with him, the Orchard 3rd Ward. This is a picture of Nauvoo, Illinois on our trip after I was released from my mission, coming back home with Mom and Dad. This is a picture of Kansas. This is a rock quarry where the temple stones were taken for the Nauvoo temple. Carthage Jail, I'm sure most of these are familiar with you guys. Another picture of Carthage Jail. Here's Kay and I at Minneapolis International Airport after my mission. This is when we met for the first time after 2 years. This was in Nauvoo, I think, too. This is on the riverboat near Hannibal, Missouri. This is Carthage Jail again. This is where Joseph Smith was killed. This is my wife's father, second from the right, Clyde McIntyre, his little brother, Homer McIntyre, and his middle brother, Irvin McIntyre, far left, and his sister, Nora Hawkins. Nora's daughter is married to Hugh Pinnick, one of the general authorities. This was the family reunion for 1991. This is a picture of the Los Angeles Temple when we were there for one of the trips I took for my year off. It was taken May 1967 out on the patio behind the house. This is a picture of me while I was on my mission on Diversion Day. Do this.
Do what?
This is Kay, taken about 19. I'm not sure when this was taken, but it looks like that's Jeff when he was a baby.
65.
This is Linda with Grandma Brown. It would have been taken around 1964 in that area, in the backyard. There's me, Mom, and Roger. There's the motel we stayed at. There's Mom. And there's the clinic, Dr. Goodhill's office. Here's Cedars of Lebanon Hospital in LA. It's where I was operated on. There's me and Mom. And this is Long Beach. This is one of the aircraft carriers of Long Beach. There's Mom and I. This is a movie taken when Jeff was a baby at 80 Mason Lane in North Salt Lake. Hopefully we'll have pictures of Grandma and Grandpa and some of the other family on here too. As you can see, this was Christmas time. This is Dad playing the harmonica at one of the Christmas programs that we had out at Grandpa Arbuckle's. You'll see Jeff has grown a little since the last pictures you saw. Of course, all the kids had to sit on Santa Claus's lap. But this spells disaster. Watch what Gary does to Santa Claus almost. I guess it was Jeff that pulled his beard. I wished I could get it a little clearer, but it's not. Kay's brother and his wife. Yeah. And there's Kay's folks who are visiting us that Christmas. These pictures are taken at Liberty Park in Salt Lake City. It was a rock band concert that Roger was in. You will see his band performing on the stage. Roger's up there with a hat on behind the synthesizer. The music was very loud. This was probably around 1985 or 6, somewhere in there. This was on the 24th of July. And all of the parade goers come to the park after the parade. You'll see Paul Nelson's family here too in a minute. And Mom and Brent and Kay. This fellow was in the parade. I'm not sure what he was in the parade. There's Roger waving or smashing the cymbals in the back. This is Paul Nelson's family. This was taken very fast. I apologize for all the fast moving in it. By the way, none of these films were in order, and so I hope you forgive me for that too. This film was taken August 1982 at the cabin. See that I'm more worried about how the cabin's getting built than taking pictures of everybody up there, I guess. Back home again, and I'm taking pictures at the end. And Kenny. I'm not sure what this is. This guy was doing loops. Here's Kenny. This is Christmas time, 1985. I think. And here we are snowmobiling, and stuck as usual. We're at the cabin. I'm afraid that's me. This is down by Bobcat Springs, up by the cabin. Every year there's more and more snowmobilers there too. Seems like now there's all kinds of people up in there. There's a lot of roads you can snowmobile on up in there. This is the family cabin in 1983. You can see it was pretty cold in the cabin. Everybody was wearing their coats. It takes a good day for it to warm up when you get up there first. So you have to wear your coats and get used to it. I guess we're back home now, out on the front porch. Get all a picture in with this. I believe that's Kenny right after he learned how to ride. There's our neighbor. After Gary learned how to drive, I got a call one night, or he came home one night and said the Blazer was stuck up on the side of the mountain. And it took a four-wheel truck, another four-wheel truck to get him back up off the side of the mountain. This was up above the hills just above east of us. Actually, it's a lot steeper than it looks. What had happened is they couldn't get it started, and it didn't have any power steering or power brakes. Made it kind of tricky. There's where it is, up on the side of the mount. I guess this is looking back down the mountain. We went on a trip to Lava Hot Springs. I believe this is on the way up to Idaho, Lava Hot Springs. This is the family reunion that was held in Lava Hot Springs in about 1982 or somewhere in there, 83. They have a very nice swimming pool. Here was the program that was put on by all of the relatives. This is Joanne Carroll's son. Roger Carroll. He was the MC. They had a foot judging contest by the wives. There's Howard and Paul, Steve Arbuckle, Levance, and Marston. This is us coming home from church one day. I took this and they punched the film roll, and I think it's doing this because it's punched wrong. Here's Gary riding his unicycle. Both Gary and Jeff could ride the unicycle. And Deanne showing off. Here comes Jeff. I want to show this because it's some of the few pictures I ever took of riding the unicycle. Jeff got pretty good on it. In fact, he rides it still today. He rides it to work so he can save gas. Gee, this is bad. it goes. Now it stopped flipping.
Doug, who is taking the pictures?
Who was? I'm not sure, Kate. I don't remember. This was when Roger was young and bold. Now he's old and bold. And this was a little...
Yeah, but now you can't see part of the leash. You can't see the left side of the picture.
You can always zoom out a little.
Oh, now you can see the whole throat coming.
Yeah. I'm not sure who these are. Roger would know. I believe they belong to the sorority next to it. And that is Shelley Osterloh. Here is Gary. Doesn't look too sure. He looks sort of unsure.
It was right after we moved in here.
And that's Don with grandma.
This is probably around 75, 1974,
No,
75.
69.
69, we weren't living in a...
69. 70.
70s or
Because-
71.
71. Because Don's just a baby.
Yeah.
He was born in 69. It's got to be 69 still.
Good job. Oh, that cracks me up.
It's in 69.
This was not one of the very bitter days. See right there.
Something right out there.
Even back when I was cracking on that.
There's Jeff. Jeff used to do that quite often, skipping and walking, didn't
I remember doing that.
he? They roll the trucks down. This summer, yeah. Does it?
It
Yes,
did.
again.
Come on.
Good job. Little baby Donald.
Which one's me?
Right there. That's you. That's
I
Jeff.
must have been asleep still.
Is that Dawn there in the little,
Yeah, that was baby Don.
the madhouse Christmas morning? That's Dawn?
Uh-huh.
That was before New Edition too, we were still in this room.
Well, New Edition wasn't until Gary was ready for admission. It was not when they were babies.
So this would have been about 1973 or somewhere.
No, Donald was born in '69. He was not 4
Well,
years
he's
old.
about a year older.
Yeah, but not 73.
Okay, 70. 1970. This is when Santa Claus still came.
Probably 69, because he was about 1.
We were not
He
in
was born in January. So this would have been December the same year.
here. We were not here in January.
We were too.
70.
We moved here in '69, when Donald was 2 weeks old.
Boy, I'm glad you're gonna be editing the sound out. Wait, who's that?
There's
Who's
Dale.
That guy? That was Dale?
Dale and Charlene and Lauren and Grandma and Grandpa.
Oh my god, they all came over, didn't they?
Oh, and Great Grandpa. Grandma had her hair tied white. Wow.
There's our aluminum Christmas tree. We must have had that 10 years.
I know, wasn't it a shame?
There's Lila.
Can't believe we got rid of that thing.
Look how little Lila is.
I like the aluminum Christmas tree.
I didn't. Oh, look at that old lamp.
Donald. First I didn't smile, Bruce John.
Yeah, he was a lot cuter then, wasn't he?
Except he drooled.
Now he's wearing a bib.
All of you were big droolers.
No, I wasn't. Jeff was.
She's gonna crawl off.
He hadn't even learned to walk by then, had he? Well, there
Walk
you go.
around the
He's doing pretty
furniture.
good. And there's Gary.
Oh, we had him patched up.
You have a patch on his eye then? Let's
What are you
see.
doing? Looks gorgeous.
That looks really nice.
Wow, this is really fast. This must be Adam and Eve. Nope,
That's me. Hey,
just Gary.
and there's Kenny. And there's Mom and me. And Kenny. And Deanne. Wow. Was this when we had to walk in or something?
One of those days when we were taking a walk, I think. This is 83, so it's not that long.
I don't remember this.
You know,
Going down to Bobcat.
Deanne was quite a bit littler. Even then, she could walk like a banshee. I had a heck of a time keeping up with her. Ouch.
That's right. We had to walk because of this mud puddle. And I remember trying to walk through that or around it or something. We got stuck in it. Right?
We lost the
I don't know.
Yeah, I think Jeff lost his boot in it.
backhoe.
Hey, this is when they were digging the power and water line into the cabin.
Oh, that was a muddy year.
Oh, there's my backhoe. That was a brand new backhoe, too. 4-wheel drive.
Independent suspension.
And I remember we had a lightning storm. It scared the guy that was operating it, so he wouldn't get in the backhoe. Do you remember that?
I remember you telling me about it. I wasn't there.
And that's when the trees got hit. He didn't finish it this week. He left his backhoe up there one whole week and come back the next week. It rained like mad.
Fred's out there watching.
That was a good backhoe that they dug that out with.
Look how big it is. It's as big as our house.
What? The digger's as big as the house? That guy was really good with it too.
Yeah, I just think I could be that good someday.
He'd go right up next to the house, and you know that he didn't poke any holes in the bedroom. Is that the end?
Never saw him do this.
Who is that guy?
Looks like
Wes.
Wes.
Oh yeah, that's right. Wes came in, oversee the project.
They said when they did his house, he didn't like the way they did it.
Did you like the device?
Well, they took that big bulldozer to his house.
Yeah, I'm sure glad we put the new addition on though. We couldn't have lived in this little tiny house once we had it. There's Marion, and there is,
Kenny. Wasn't it Kenny?
no, now they got the forms in. Gee, they're building this right before our eyes, too. And there's the big hole.
It was a big project, you know?
It was. There's Animal. Got us into deep trouble.
Yeah. With our neighbors.
This is Dad beside his Volkswagen bus in the garage behind our house in Bountiful. This is the old home in Bountiful. It's now a beauty parlor and it doesn't look anything like that. But this is when it looked really nice. Looking at the back door of the house, and the new addition that Mom and Dad put on in. We always had a small kitchen, and this helped enlarge the kitchen. Here's another angle and a different shot of it. You see the Paces next door and our mailbox, our old mailbox. That mailbox got knocked down more times. In fact, one of the guys that knocked it down was President David O. McKay. Backyard. Andy's Milk Depot across the street. This was built later on. Okay, this is Bowman's woodworking sign that was out in front of his place. They were right next to us, and this is looking down the highway towards where Grandma Brown's house used to be. These pictures were taken knowing that the house would be sold, and so this was not too long before the house was sold. Here's a straight on shot of the house looking into the living. Here's a final shot of the outside of the house, and how it looked at that time. Okay, here's looking across the street to the cabins, which are now gone, and what you see out there now is a restaurant called the North Seas Restaurant. Grandma Brown's old house, not too long before it was torn down. You can see they had a cornfield planted around it. You see Grandma and Kay out to the side of the house there. Okay, pictures of Grandma Brown's house were dated August 73, so this is the same year that she died. Okay, fields as they went clear down to the highway, you can see now that's all filled with buildings, and they built a regional valley hospital down below her. In fact, this is all now Spectrum Press in that area. Okay. Old cellar behind Grandma Brown's house. And there was a lot of fruit that they stored in it. This is the tree behind her house. And you'll see the old porch and patio here. And that's where Grandpa Brown spent a lot of his time, sitting in the rocking chairs. Okay. This is Jeff. This was his first moving vehicle, I think. Really moving vehicle, and he was enjoying it. This is the two cowboys here. Two cowboys known as Jeff and Gary here, nearing sunset. Here again we have the two cowboys, and this was at Grandpa Arbuckle's house, I remember now. Gary and Grandma Brown.
We gotta leave this in longer. Yeah.
Turn that off. This is Kay and I's wedding, and I'm not sure who she's marrying in there, me or Robert. They're standing right there. Okay, here's another picture of our wedding reception in the dining area. I'm sampling the cake just before she dropped it. Here we are at the wedding reception again, or wedding breakfast.
Yep.
This is out in front of Temple area. Don't know whether I can get everybody in there. Okay. Here again, we're outside the temple, in the temple grounds on our wedding day. Here's the lineup at our wedding.
This is getting boring.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go line up with the weather. Are you recording this? I can't even see it. Okay. There's Kay's little niece, Terry Brand, bridesmaids. And that was it. Here's Linda. And some of the girls that were there. There's Heather. Okay. Okay. That's Heather. That's Heather in the backyard.
Tom Smart from WA News. Entirely the opposite direction. So they will try to maneuver, and these are very experienced pilots, able to, well, they don't reach tall buildings. What we're trying to do is get them to find an X and drop a marker on it. Stuart Collins launching, or inflating in the center of the field. His balloon sponsored by Kodak.
I went on the other side. It'd be drier over here.
With us as a new sponsor this year. Again, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to follow the balloons around the golf course. We do ask you to stay off the tees and greens and out of the sand trap. And if you have any little trash or anything, maybe put it in your pocket or find a box or can to put it in. We do have a whole bunch of golfers coming out here this morning.
What?
The guy has a steering wheel.
Why you gonna turn that thing?
Steering wheel.
Turn